several other items.
You can have a seat, sir. Actually, I'm sorry. I'm going to show you what's been marked as 17. Actually, it's 9, file 3, picture 17. What is that?
That is a hair that we found on the garage floor.
Now, you indicated you did not process the garage on 525. Did you take this out of the garage on 525?
Yes, I did.
Okay, why this item?
Because the hair was loose and it could have easily blown away.
If I can, I'm just going to scroll up. Is the hair depicted in that photograph?
Yes.
Now, with respect to, actually, I apologize, strike that. And I'm going to show you what's marked as picture 18. What is that photograph?
That is one of the seals that we use to seal up the house at the conclusion of processing on the 25th. That is on the, appears to be the central garage bay.
That red tape that's depicted in the center part of the photograph, did you put that anywhere else in the house?
Yes, on the garage bay doors and the front door and
Do you recall any other ones?
not off the top of my head, ma'am.
Okay. With respect to, oh, yes, actually, thank you. Right above the red tape, right, that the gray marking, what is that?
That's a garage door remote.
Okay. And did you take any action with respect to that?
Yes, on the 25th, I swabbed that in an attempt to collect any latent DNA material that may have been on it.
Okay. Did you use that same 2-swab process?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, on the 25th, did you, again, why didn't you process the garage on the 25th?
Our plan was to call in a bloodstain expert to come in to process the garage with us.
And who did you call?
It was then Lieutenant Mark Davison.
Okay. And what day was he scheduled to process the scene with you?
Objection irrelevant with this witness.
Well, the question is, on what day was he scheduled to process the scene? And the objection is relevant, overruled.
He was scheduled to come on the 27th, which was Monday.
Now, did you go anywhere else on May 25th?
Yes, I did.
Where did you go?
In the morning, I went to Lapham Road in New Canaan.
Okay, sir, I'm going to have you take a look behind you. This would be States 9, File 5, Photograph 1. Do you recognize what's depicted on that photograph?
Yes.
What is it?
That's an overhead view of the area of Lapham Road that I visited on the morning of the 25th.
If you could, would you mind standing up and just pointing to the area that you visited that morning?
It was generally in this area here.
Why did you go there? You can have a seat, sir.
Well, before you proceed, counsel, would you just indicate for the record what quadrant of the photograph the witness pointed to?
I apologize, Your Honor. For the record, that would be the middle to lower center right area. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, why did you respond there?
We learned that the New Canaan Police Department had located Jennifer Doulos' Chevy Suburban on that road, and that they were going to be in the process of towing it back to their police department. We wanted to go there first to take a look at the outside of it, photograph it, before it was loaded onto the tow truck.
What time did you go to Lapham Road that day?
It was in the morning, approximately 7 o'clock.
What did you do when you arrived on scene?
I looked at the outside of the vehicle, and then photographed the four sides of it.
Did you walk around the entire vehicle?
I believe so, yes.
And with respect to, well, if I can, I'm going to show you. You can take a look behind you. This is again file 5, states 9. Picture 2. Do you recognize that photograph?
Yes.
What is it?
That's the photograph of the Chevy Suburban I was speaking about.
Okay. Did you take that photograph?
Yes.
Now, with respect to walking around the vehicle, how close was it to the, I guess, foliage and trees next to it?
I believe the right-hand side of the vehicle was right up against the bushes.
And the right-hand side, would that be the driver's or the passenger side?
I'm sorry, the passenger side.
Thank you. And the direction of the vehicle parked, I guess, is that, actually, if I can, just go back briefly to picture 1. Sir, do you know what road is on the bottom here going from left to right?
That's the Merritt Parkway,
Okay.
Route 15.
And with respect to the vehicle, how it was parked, do you know which direction it was facing? Was it towards or away from the Merritt Parkway?
It was facing the Merritt.
Now I'll show you picture 3. What does that depict?
That's the left or driver's side of the vehicle.
And picture 4.
That's the rear of the vehicle.
Now, were you able to walk around the vehicle over here on the right side? We're describing.
Sure. It's a blow-like stain on the garage floor, and you can see a partial distinctive pattern within the stain itself.
How did you place that 7D marker on there?
I did, yes.
Okay. How do you document this or seize this as an exhibit?
Well, the hard way would be to jackhammer up the floor and send that to the lab, but that's not too practical. So what we decided to do is photograph them properly, 90 degrees with scale, and send the photographs to the lab as Exhibit 70 for identification and possible comparison.
Thank you. And 71, is that depicted on Zone D map as well?
Yes, it is Exhibit 71 here.
And why did you seize that item, sir?
Again, this is another blow-like stain on the garage floor. You can see, that a similar pattern in it, but you can also see the swipe marks through it.
Picture 8, what does this show, sir?
Picture 8 is it's another area of blood-like staining that appear to be wipe marks.
And was this all contained in Area D?
Yes.
And picture 9?
Yeah, it's a additional stain pattern found in Area E.
If I can, I'm gonna scroll. Oops. What are you doing now? Up here, this marker, I guess L-shaped marker again. What is that?
Again, it's another blood-like stain on the floor with a similar pattern, but a lot less detail to it.
And with respect to these items just around, and if you could follow my cursor, sir, they're little dots or things. What are they?
It appear to be vegetative matter, plants.
And anything, actually, picture 10, was this contained in Area D?
Yes. Right here at the, almost at the border of Area E.
And is this the same item that you seized on 525?
This is correct. This is the hair.
Now, with respect to States 9, File 10, so are you familiar with Detective Pearson's map for Area E?
Yes.
Sir, photograph 1 out of that file, what does that depict?
It's an overall view of, again, that right side garage bay. Area E is depicted here right in the center.
Photograph 2, what is that, sir?
This is a blood-like stain pattern that we located in Area E. It's located here kind of top center of the area. And I took a swabbing of this area to sample the blood-like stain. It was on the garage floor.
Was that designated as a exhibit?
Yes, Exhibit 51.
There is a pink arrow on the right side. Do you see where the pink arrow is?
Yes.
What exactly is that?
That in this large stain pattern, the arrow
Depicts exactly where I took the sample from.
And same process, 2 swabs?
2 swabs, yes.
Did you test it?
I did.
And the results?
Again, I'm going to every now and then just make the same objection regarding any quote results.
Thank you, overruled.
The test result was positive.
Thank you. Sir, picture 3?
As a similar stain pattern, another blood-like stain appeared to be a white. It's located here at the left-hand side of Area E. And again, I sampled this using that same swabbing technique, same testing technique, and I took the sample from this area here.
And the test results?
Test results were positive.
Picture 4?
Picture 4 is another blood-like stain we found in Area E. And the stain pattern itself appeared to us to be a textured glove. If you can imagine 3 fingers here.
What exhibit was this marked at?
I marked it as State Police Exhibit 55.
Thank you. And States 5. What does that show?
That's an overall view of Area E taken from kind of with your back to the mudroom door. So you can see Exhibit 55 here, that swipe mark.
And picture 6?
It's an off-kilter view of Area E and the right-hand side of the garage.
Thank you. I'm going to draw your attention now to States 9, File 11. Are you familiar with Detective Pearson's map concerning Zone F?
Yes, I am.
Picture 1 off of States 9, File 11. Sir, what does that depict?
It's an overall view of the right-hand side of the garage. You see Area F is down here. This is the kind of the threshold of the overhead door. And Area F is up in this area. Takes up.
We're offering those as spontaneous utterances. And I would just indicate that State versus Smith, which is 275 Con at 217, quote, "It is well established in our jurisprudence that where a marital or romantic relationship existed between a homicide victim and the defendant, evidence of the victim's fear of the defendant suggests a deterioration of that relationship which is relevant to the issues of motive and intent. Now, what I'm gathering from the defense, even though they're apparently not conceding that Mr. Doulos is even responsible for this crime or that the crime occurred at all, is that there's somehow spillover prejudice to the defendant. But again, this is highly probative evidence as to why Mr. Doulos would commit this crime. We're going to flush out later on in the trial why it was also probative to why the defendant would conspire with Mr. Doulos. And so we're asking that the court allow this evidence. We think it's very probative.
Thank you. Attorney Schoenhorn.
I guess we have to separate the fact, two issues here. The first is that it sounds to me that if Fotis Doulos was on trial for this, the state would be seeking to offer this kind of evidence, and most of it would be explicitly prohibited against Mr. Doulos because of its prejudicial effect and its remoteness. This court, early on, before we started evidence, I attempted to get certain documents from the divorce file because it sounds to me that the state wants to litigate a dissolution action that never reached its conclusion. The court, in the most recent court proceedings involving the Doulos versus Doulos matter, prohibited the defense from having access to those documents. I want to preface my remarks with that because what I'm hearing now is the state wants to litigate matters from 2016 and 2017, years before the disappearance of Jennifer Doulos and the allegations that are set forth in the complaint. So first, there are a number of issues that apply here. The first is that most of what I just heard is not relevant because it has nothing to do with Michelle Troconis. It also would not be relevant as a motive against Fotis Doulos because of the fact that it occurred before the divorce. It's also relevant for your court's determination. There's no violence involved here. Every one of the cases that the state has cited involve prior acts of actual physical violence. What we have here are arguments about whether the children should go water skiing, whether they were loud, whether Mr. Doulos wanted his wife to sign a custody agreement, which is what the claim chasing her around, quote unquote, with a piece of paper is all about. To sign an agreement as to when the children would go, in other words, without litigating it, to agree to those terms. This might be true of any dissolution action, not only in Connecticut, but probably in the entire United States of America. So the problem we also have, which is unique to this case, is that all of these incidents were part of an attempt by Jennifer Doulos to obtain a restraining order. I want to emphasize, because the court may not be aware, Judge Collin had a multi-day hearing where all of these claims were litigated, and he found it not credible. That is, he denied the restraining order. So we have, at the level of a preponderance of the evidence, a coordinate judge of this court finding that the evidence did not meet the minimum requirements for a restraining order, and he denied Jennifer Doulos' motion for a restraining order. Again, it is testimonial in another coordinate proceeding. It was done for purposes of litigation. These allegations were made during the course of that. It was denied in that court. So how is the court here going to allow the same evidence in here without bringing in the actual findings, rulings by the judge in the divorce case? And then, of course, this all goes back to 2016 and 2017. The fact that that kind of discord is not the kind of violence that would permit the court to allow that to be presented, especially in a case of this nature. The